Courtney, I'm glad we got together. It's great to have you with me today to discuss your journey to share with others. I think we connected sometime last year. I want to say like June-ish, somewhere around there, right? So through Facebook.
Yeah.
Um, but I know you have a podcast, you have a book, and everything else that's going on. But I would love for you just to begin with sharing with everybody. Who are you? Who is Courtney today? And what are you most excited about?
Who am I today? Wow, that's like a loaded question.
Sure
I feel
is.
like I'm a lot of things. I'm first a wife and mom of all things. So I have four kids that are ages 17, 15, 11, and just turned 6. So it's very busy with their schedules and fun and crazy all at the same time. If you have kids, which I know you do, right? You might have
Yes.
You know how crazy it is just to try to keep up with all their demands and
Mhm.
everything. Um, I also work as a part-time registered nurse still. That's been difficult and fulfilling at the same time, just with some of the patients that I work with. But thankfully, I'm in a really good job that's good for my schedule. It's like I never even knew it existed. It's kind of a school nursing job, but it's not like the school nurse. The agency that I work for takes disabled children, pediatric patients,
Mhm.
those with tracheostomies and G2s and severe disabilities, and to school. Like we'll gather up their equipment, like oxygen tanks. Some are on ventilators. Almost all of them had feed pumps, and like some have medications, and we take care of them in a school setting, in classroom setting. And it's a nice school schedule, no nights, no weekends, no holidays. So I've been very grateful for it, and I do enjoy it. So that's one part of me as well. I've also love music, love to sing. I was classically trained a long time ago in voice and in flute as well. I play flute very well, and that's a huge part of what makes me me is the music side. And I also dove into the entrepreneurial space. My husband dragged me into it a couple years ago when we went to a mastermind event through an entrepreneur named Russell Brunson in his coaching programs that he has. We attended an event in Cancun that he held. Yeah, he like I said, he dragged me along and said, "Hey, do you want to come to this event? Or sorry, do you want to come to Cancun with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to go to Cancun. I'd never been to Mexico or any place like that." And so he said, "Okay, well, you just have to attend some, mastermind sessions." Like, yeah, all right, fine, I can do that if I can go play and be in a nice resort. So so obviously I attended the mastermind sessions, and I just got the feeling that there was something that I could do. And listening to the various speakers and what they were talking about and hearing their stories of like maybe the underdog type of story and how much what they've done and what they've overcome. And I thought, oh, I think I have something. I just didn't know what exactly it was. And I toyed probably with different ideas. Like I thought maybe I could do something for nurses because I'm a nurse. Like maybe I could help nurses, like a program or a coaching program. But then it wasn't until a year later, I think, that I got the idea. Think I can write a book because I excelled in writing, especially with writing lots of papers for my bachelor's degree. So many papers, so many papers. And so I started writing some ideas down of things that like I learned through along like many years of health issues and things that I learned in nursing school and being a mom and things that had helped me through all my challenges and difficult times. And I finally started applying those into, like, how could I, like, write this in a book? And over time, it morphed into this book that I'm holding right now. I entitled it My Diamond Within: Refined by Pressure, Defined by Joy, meaning that, life's trials are designed to refine us and help us to really shine like the gemstones or diamonds that we're really meant to be. And so that's what I'm really passionate about right now. I'm also passionate about health and fitness as well, but this this was a this was hard to write in that it just finding the time to write, finding an editor, finding the book designer and all of it that goes into it. You wrote your book, right? So you know what it's like, what goes into it and the time it takes and the sacrifice that it is. And so that's where I'm at right now. I'm also still doing my podcast. I took a few months off earlier because I was having major imposter syndrome. Like, am I really supposed to be doing
Yeah.
this? Like, I've got so many things on my plate. I don't think I can do this. And I was really like backing off, like, I don't think I'm supposed to do this. But I just couldn't get away from it. Like, I have to find a way to keep going and making this work.
Mm.
Or even if it's just short little episodes. I started video recording now, and I finally started uploading them to my YouTube channel, even though they're not very good. I like I have to keep going with this. I can't just give up on what feels like something that I feel called to do. And so, as slow as it may seem, the journey, I'm still moving forward and finding a way to just like make time for just a short episode here or a short episode here, even though they're not great. It's still it's still a podcast episode, and it's still doing it, trying to get my message out there and share my thoughts of things and things that I'm passionate about. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Kind of like an earful, I know, but that's where I'm at right now.
No, that's great. There's a lot of things to unpack there. So let's your book, right? So pressure. You know what I mean? Can I just ask, was there any kind of pressure that you felt in your life? You know, I don't know anything about your book, but I don't know if it shares your story and stuff like that. But maybe you can expand on that, for yourself and what pressure does to somebody.
Oh my goodness. When you think of the way, let me just talk really briefly about how diamonds are formed. We all know that they're formed over millions of years over intense heat and pressure. And it's not without that heat and pressure that that diamond won't be formed into that gemstone that needs to be. So the pressures that I've been through, I mentioned briefly some health issues. I started having food sensitivities and I developed higher anxiety and um I was diagnosed with a autoimmune disease back in 2022 with Hashimoto's and Graves' disease. Um, I had thyroid cancer that was found, and then a thyroidectomy that happened short time after that in January 2023. And so learning to live without the thyroid that does a lot of like regulating metabolism, breath rate, heart rate, and so much more. Um, Learning to live without that has been a challenge. It's because I mean, you can live without it. It's just by a hormone replacement therapy in the form of medication, but it's not perfect. So it's been a challenge to figure that out. There's been lots of pesky other symptoms that have come with it, with some of the anxiety. Skin picking has been a terrible, terrible one. And I seem to be really sensitive to just many things like the ability to handle more stress. Not getting enough sleep seems to really affect me. And there's been a lot of dark nights, a lot of terrible mornings of just feeling trapped in in my body and in this chronic condition. And so I that that's been the hardest thing about my health issues is just trying to find answers, trying to feel better, and it's being progress being really slow on that front to try to figure things out and to feel better because it affects my daily living, my ability to think clearly. There's like terrible brain fog. So that's been the biggest pressure that I think I've had and trying to keep going, go to work, be a mom, take care of my family while I'm still dealing with this. And that's why I wrote the book. The pressures may, though it seems like it's a, I mean, it does feel like a burden, but it does teach you how to be softer, humbler, more kind, more forgiving, or compassionate. And this book does tell my story, and I kind of go, I take you into the dark nights. I take you into the the emotional ups and downs and the struggles and just some difficult, really difficult times that I've had. And I teach readers what I've learned from it, and that there is a way to find joy in those struggles. There is a way to see the purpose in the pain. There is a way to not let it overcome you, let it make you sink down into the uttermost depths of despair, right? We all have our own struggles. We all have our own hurt. We all have our own health issues, whatever. I mean, everybody's got something that they're dealing with. And this book can be applied to anyone who is dealing with difficult days, which we all have. And that's why I wrote it, because we all need to remember where we can really find the joy in our struggles and what helps with that. What helps reframe the mindset and help us get out of the way we think when days get really hard. And that's really what my book is contained. There's quite a bit in it, but I'm very proud of it. And I'm I can read you the back blurb if you want, but it's up to you if you want to hear that.
Yeah, I'll hear that, but I also wanna hear too is how do you find joy?
I find it in the simplest of things.
Mhm.
I love finding it in like a sunrise or in spending time with my family or the smell of rain or a child's laughter or a silly joke, something like that. Or in music. Like I mentioned before, that music is, I would call it my first love, actually. When I listen to music, it just fills me. And this is like the music that everyone has their own types of music. So it's music that I enjoy. It fills me with such joy and making music, like playing and singing. It's falling back on those things that ultimately do are simple and bring you happiness, or your hobbies, or spending time with your family, detaching from the stresses of the world, or taking time to be still. I mean, exercise also helps me feel better and feel joy, and it's also connecting with my roots and connecting with God has really, really helped me in the struggles, making sure I make time for me, making time for my family, and doing things that I love. And it does help when I feel those dark moments, when I do feel that terrible brain fog, relying back on those things and finding the simple things really does help me feel joy.
And then how could you tell others to find joy in their life?
Mm. I think it's different for everyone, but to remember that joy isn't something that you create. It's something you remember, that it is always there. You just have to know where to find it. You look for it in your blessings. You look for it in your surroundings, in your loved ones, in the faces of your coworkers. You find it in service, in lifting someone else's burden, in taking in the wonder of the world, and in the beauty that you're surrounded by every day. It's always there if you know where to look. It's always there. It was never taken from you. And some people seem to think that, how can I possibly feel joy when life is so hard all the time? But that's the biggest lie. That joy was never taken from you. You just forgot where to find it. It's always there. Always.
I agree with you. And I feel like it's the smallest things that bring us the joy. And we look at like a huge picture, I guess how society kind of places us of where we should be in life, right? This is who we should be, but we're not that person. We're not created to be that person. And that strips us away from that joy. And so unfortunately, we have to struggle to find what that is again. So, it sounds like I mean, you had a list of stuff that brings you joy, which is great, right? It's not just one thing. So if the one, is not there today, then you pray or, you lean on something else, right? And that brings you the joy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And do you have something like that in the book or whatever that, that kind of like helps people find that joy that brings them back to getting out of their struggle and feeling good?
I'd have to flip back to my table of contents.
That's all right. I
Yeah.
just didn't know if it was like kind of like a workbook or a guide in a way where they can go ahead and dive in and say, okay, that's what brings me joy.
Well, I take people on a journey in my book.
Okay.
First thing that I cover is how to find hope when you feel like hope is lost.
Mm.
I talk about misconceptions that are thinking when things get hard and how to reframe that. I challenge people to look inside themselves and look around them for opportunities to serve and to make sure that they keep their trials in the right perspective with the right perspective, like from a higher perspective. If that makes sense. Like that the world is so much bigger than just you.
Mhm.
If you remember that there's a whole big world in motion going out there, it makes your trials not seem quite so bad. And knowing that someone else is probably has it worse than you. And I also talk about that you have the power to do something even when you feel stuck. Um, looking if you're looking for answers like I was and still am in health, or if it's something else that you're looking for answers for, you can't give up. You have to keep searching because it's easy just to give up and say, I can't do this anymore, right? I'm never gonna find an answer. You can't give up. We have to keep seeking until you find it. I talk about giving yourself grace on those hard days. You can't beat yourself up, right? You got to love yourself in a process when it's a really hard day because we all have them. I talk about how to surrender, like your ego, to be still, how to uh, use like your creativity, use like your music, use passion to, like I told you before, like you lean on those things that bring you the most interest that in your life, or how to use, like I said, like your creativity or to create variety in your routine. Just if you feel like you're in that stuck in a rut, like I felt stuck so many times. And then I talk about how you want to be remembered, where joy really comes from, and then how to make it last. Um, with like how you want to be remembered, talk about how to view your life from two perspectives, looking forward and then looking back. In the book, I call it a full circle perspective, where you it's kind of hard to explain right now at the top of my head, but for how you want to be remembered, it's like seeing yourself in your future as your future self, but then your future self looking back. So it's like you're looking at your life as a complete circle. Does that make sense? And so you're kind of meeting both sides. It's hard to explain. I explain it so much better in the book, but it's in that chapter. How do you really want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered for rising up in your challenges and overcoming them and not complaining and whining and wishing to curse God and die type of stuff? And then looking back on your life, it's like that's your blueprint. If you were to write your eulogy for how you want to be remembered, like or your epitaph, like that's your blueprint for how you want to live your life right now. Like, if you want to be remembered that I was happy and I was kind and I lived my life to the fullest, well, that's how you got to live your life right now, right? It's seizing every moment. It's not taking life for granted, whatever that means to you. It's for me, I want to be remembered for like zeal for life and how I lived and how I cared and served. And did I rise to every challenge? Did I try new things? Was I afraid? All that kind of stuff. And, it's going to be different for you. It's going to be different for everybody. But that's your blueprint for how to live your life right now and how to deal with your life's challenges. Like, do you want to be remembered for complaining and whining and saying you didn't do anything? Or do you want to be remembered for looking for creative ways to solve your problems, finding ways to serve even if it's hard, and like loving as best you can and just in any way you can, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so it
And
sounds like
to
to me
find
that
how to find joy. Go ahead.
yeah, it sounds like to me that you're trying to stay present and be focused in the moment. Um, that's what I'm getting, and people aren't going to see you see your future self, right? But if something happens along the way, you're never going to be that future self. But you can show up today as if you were that future self, right? And so that's what I'm getting at, right? So if something happens to me today, you got who I am, the best version of me today, as I keep showing up, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm picking up from what you're telling me. Does it sound about right for how I'm translating it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because and one thing I want to point out is that the best version of ourselves can vary day by day based on, I think, a lot of physiological factors. If you didn't get enough sleep at night, if you're staying up late, you're not going to be very good the next
True.
day. If you're not taking care of your mind, of your health, um, then you're not going to be able to show up very good the next day. So, and that's where like you do need to go back to giving yourself grace on those days, or maybe you need to take a little bit of time for yourself, take it easy, but then continue to show up as best you can. And because for me, like my best varies, it fluctuates throughout the day, honestly, with the issues that I've had with my thyroidectomy and having thyroid replacement hormone. It's so it's like I constantly have to be kind to myself and just do the best that I can, honestly. It can be very physically and mentally exhausting, but I keep pushing through. I keep trying to show up even though I'm not perfect. So, but yeah, to be in the present moment as often as you can while still keeping that future perspective in in view. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like if your future self were to make decisions for you right now, I mean, you want to kind of make decisions as if it was your future self making that so that you can be that future version of yourself kind of right now. Well, I think it's tricky to have both perspectives, but I think it's possible. Like it's constant like progression, right? We're always trying to do better. And so that's I think what I'm getting at is being in the present moment while still trying to always be better.
No, you're absolutely right. So I remember, I believe it was Matthew McConaughey who said something about somebody asked him who his hero is, right? And so he thought of himself 7 years or whatever from that moment. So he wants to show up to be, I want to be that hero. And then when he gets to that age or whatever, then he wants to be the next him as the hero, right? And so that's how I'm reading this, and you just want to keep on showing up to be you better now for the future and just keep getting there, right? Um, yeah, it's something to think about. So it's a lot to unpack. Uh, and it sounds like your book is a good way to help people navigate through that. You mentioned how much it was a struggle to do the book, do your podcast, and multiple other things. So what to you is allowing you to have the courage to keep going?
The courage to keep going, it honestly, I feel like it comes just from within, from my spirit, from who I feel I'm meant to become.
Mm.
Maybe there's a little bit of FOMO in there too. Like, I don't want to miss out on who I feel like I can become. And I feel like there's a people that we all need to serve. I don't want to miss out on the opportunities with my family or with my kids and my husband and just people that I encounter daily in the universe. And I also think a growth and progress mindset is also what fuels me. And I think that nursing school gave me that. Um, I was terrified to go back to school. I was a music major fresh out of high school,
Mm.
and I thought, okay, I'm gonna do the music thing. But then, like, after I got married, there wasn't a lot of opportunity to finish school. So it wasn't until 2014 that I started back into school to go to do nursing school and to be a nurse. And then when I found out that I was doing really well in school and I understood the health sciences really well, like, I cool, look what I can do. I mean, and so I think it's that progress mindset that keeps me going of, "Wow, there's so much to learn, there's so much to do, there's so much to see," and it just it feels exciting that I can touch people's lives, that someone can benefit from what I can give them. I can serve my family, I can serve my community, I can publish content and try to reach more audience or more people that way. It just like physically, I am limited of what I can do, time, but honestly, my spirit feels limitless. And I think that's one of the frustrating parts is the limits that my body that I have physically. Like, I want to be able to do so much to become so much. And it's kind of frustrating that way, but that doesn't stop me from trying. Just it's just to see what I can do and become, even with the limits that have been placed on me. So
Yeah,
after that,
I liked what you said, the spirit feels limitless, right? So you just wanna keep moving forward even though you have limits set upon you.
yeah,
And so, like, that's huge, right? And you just keep showing up. Even I know you mentioned how some of your podcast episodes aren't the greatest, whatever, etcetera, right? But you're still showing up. Now, for example, you mentioned that you fell off a little bit, just say you skipped a couple weeks, right? But you kept going, right? You're back in the game where others would have just gave up, right? For whatever reason, they would have just given up. But you just you picked back up and you said, "Okay, I'm here again. Somebody else needs to hear it, or watch it." You're doing videos and stuff. So that's what that's encouraging. That's what people need to have, right? And they could see
yeah,
that you, Courtney, you fell off, right? But you're here, you're back, right? You wrote this book, even though it was so hard to go through, navigate through the course of, creating a book, finding the editor, et cetera, right? And that's all a challenge. And that's why most people don't even start anything because they don't even know where to begin. Um,
right,
but you decided somewhere along the line that you wanted to write a book, become an entrepreneur, and everything else that you're doing, outside of all that stuff, and just continue to help others and serve others in so many different ways. So, I mean, what you're doing is incredible. So, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing and, jumping on podcasts, et cetera, like this and, getting the word out. Uh, but I would love for you to give, everybody how they can find your book, ways they can connect with you, how you can support them, whatever that looks like to you, the podcast, et cetera. So if you don't mind just sharing, the links and everything else like that.
yeah. I don't mean to share those with you
If
later.
if you would like to say the best way they can find you, connect you, your website or whatever that is, and then I'll put everything in the show notes and stuff.
Perfect. Yeah, you can find me on. I'm on a social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's I believe it's at Courtney R Hancock. Or yeah, I think it's Courtney R Hancock or just Courtney Hancock. My book is My Diamond Within. It's on Amazon right now. I don't have a website or a funnel for it built yet, but it is on Amazon. Um, My podcast is called The Diamond Within. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, and or Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And I do have a YouTube channel as well that I'm posting those videos to that I record. Um, just trying to spread the word and um, create really good content that people need. I started playing with YouTube Shorts too. It's kind of fun. So just to just to see what people like and to share just maybe a little tidbit of like a fun fact or a helpful tip and it's just short. So I'm doing a few things there and just to experiment and see what kind of views I get and you can know. So that's where people can find me. Um Hopefully to have a website here in the near future, but we'll see. Yeah.
Okay.
See how things go.
Yeah, it's coming, I'm sure. And if you don't post anything, you'll never know, right? So whatever that clip is or anything, it's just getting it out there and see where it goes. It's not to me, it's not all about trying to be viral. It's just trying to share the knowledge and everything to help somebody else. Um,
Yes, for sure.
yeah, that's how I look at it. So I have one question I ask everybody at the end of the podcast. So what are three key things you've learned and used along your journey?
Three key things to just never take life for granted. To seize every moment and opportunity you get and to remember, I guess this kind of goes with the first one, just to remember your blessings and that life is truly a gift to
Mm.
be lived every single day. And it's a privilege, it's not a curse. Your trials are not a curse. They are a blessing, even if it doesn't feel like it.
That is so true. I agree with what you just said there, right? I am so thankful for my struggles. That's how I look at it. And I love what you just said. So, I mean, that's something that I think a lot of us don't mention or don't feel. And we have to accept sometimes that it's what we go through is going to get us to become a better person on the other side to support somebody else, right? Before they go through something or they are going through something. And if we don't feel that, then I think we just get stuck. And, unfortunately, I think most of us are stuck and we don't come out of it. So I I can tell you, you're not stuck. You're fighting through everything. You're still moving forward, right? And so again, I tell you, just keep doing what you're doing, keep showing up. You're doing more now than last time we spoke, right? I don't think you were doing video last time we spoke and everything like that. So I'm excited to see what's coming up. I really am. I
Thank you.
appreciate, yeah, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey, and I excited again to see where it goes from here.
Oh, thank you so much, Jonathan. It was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.